I'd like to welcome you all to the annual meeting of the Norwalk Harbor Management Commission. This is our February 26th meeting. Consider us called to order. We able to do the Pledge of Allegiance, although it is not included on our agenda. Stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
and to the
and to the
republic
republic
for which it
for which
stands,
it
stands
one
one
nation,
nation,
under God,
under God,
indivisible,
indivisible,
with liberty and
liberty
justice
and
for all.
justice for all.
for all. As you were.
Not- That's my personal one.
We'll do the roll call. Just say present or wave your hand. Matt Gifford. I see
Present.
Matt's box.
Get into a computer, Alan.
Laura Jones,
Present.
Al Kibbe, present. Jeff Mangles,
Present.
Chris McDonald,
Present.
Mike Matthews, John Pinto,
Present.
Chris White. Chris is not here this evening. He's traveling with his family. And Donald Remsen. Present. Thank you all.
And Amelia, for the record, Jeff Stedman is here as well.
Thank you. Noted.
Right. Amelia, do we have any public participants?
We don't even have anyone from the public watching us tonight, so I don't think there's any public comment at this time.
Wow. Someone must have found another interest, I guess, and someplace else to go. And right along to you, Lori, for the minutes from January 22nd.
Okay, everybody's seen the latest version. So I would like to call for a motion to approve the January 22nd, 2025 minutes. Do we have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Don. Second,
I'll
Jeff
take it.
Mangles.
Jeff Mangles. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? All right, they are approved. Alan, you're muted. Alan,
There you go. He was there.
Hey, Jim.
Would like to move the election of officers forward in the meeting and do it right now, simply because it gives Amelia time to do any tabulating she needs to do. So we have a result of the vote by the end of the meeting, actually. So John, could you
We're set with our.
read the slate of nominations that you have
Yeah,
so
we
far?
have, well, we have Alan Kibbe as chair, Jeff Mangles as vice chair, and Lori Jones as secretary. And
Have
so
you got
far,
any?
no
ahead.
additional names moving forward. So can certainly make the nomination in threes.
I think we should ask, Amelia, you've not received anything, have you?
No, I have not.
Yeah. So the question is, are there any nominations from the floor for
That's correct.
alternate candidates?
Right. And so we request 3 times. Any nominations from the floor for any additional candidates? Again, any nominations from the floor for additional candidates?
And hearing none, we would just call the
And
question
then-
on the slate, I believe.
Any nominations from the floor for any
So,
candidates?
so what we all should do in the interest of having a secret ballot, I guess, unless we want to just forego that, is to just send a message to Amelia Williams. That's amelia.williams@norwalkct.gov, and just say, like, your message, the subject can be for the slate or anything like that would be, I think, sufficient. So if we want to just take a minute and do that, we will can vote in secret, and Amelia will give us the results in a few minutes, and we'll move on with our agenda while she's sort of putting that together. So you all have to send an email.
Just one quick question. This is the third year you guys are serving these terms, right?
That is
This will be-
correct.
So
Right. And just for the record, this year, everybody's limited to 3 terms in any given office, you know, or 3 consecutive years. I forget how it's worded, but
Three,
okay.
3 consecutive years. That's correct.
yeah, I think
Yeah.
we're all okay.
Yeah, just double checking that.
Yeah, I'm gonna nominate you, Chris, next time.
Awesome.
No need for us to wait till if everybody's done. Just raise your hand. It's just the commissioners. And Amelia, why don't you just interrupt when you have a have an have it all done.
Sure, I have, so far I've received, oh, actually, I just got even more. So far I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I'm just waiting on one more, but I can just do it when it's on the agenda, if you'd like at the end.
Be fine.
Well, 7 is the count that you should have. You got 7.
I believe there are 8 commissioners in attendance tonight.
I'm sorry?
I think there's 8 commissioners here right now.
No, there's 7 that I understand.
No, there's 8.
Oh, there's Matt. I'm sorry, Matt's
That's not here.
He's incognito. I see that. Okay.
Incognito. I thought I was going to say he's in costume. So, Dr. Pitta, we can move right on with the application review.
Well, what I want to ask is, Amelia, did you contact John Hiltz with regard to his application?
For 26 Shorefront or for,
No, not.
oh, wait, sorry, that's Mr. Bajak, excuse me.
Yeah.
I believe, yeah, he knows the meeting is tonight. We
That's
do have an
138
attendee.
Water Street.
Yes, yeah.
Shorty Yacht Club.
So I do not see him, but I think I'll double check my email, but as usually I tell people when it's received when the next meeting is and send them the link.
Well, we can go ahead and review that application. It's a pre-application from my Shorty Yacht Club with regard to their replacement and reconfiguration of their timber floats. If you want, we can review that or wait for Mr. Hiltz if he does plan to show up. I don't see that. No.
We can review it.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, sure. Let's review.
Okay. All right. Let me Amelia, let me flip that up here. Let me see here. I can
Go
share.
for it.
Here we are. Okay. All right, well, here you can see that this is the proposed general plan of the Ishota. Well, let me back up here. So we have the Ishota Yacht Club, and what they plan to do is to reconfigure the dock arrangement in this region here within the same footprint of what they already have, but they're just sort of rearranging the docks there. So this represents the current, I'm sorry. Oh, this is the existing plan here where they have it arranged. Here's the federal channel line. And then we have their dock configuration here and placed all inside here. Here's the club. And the proposed arrangement now is without that. I'm sorry, the proposed arrangement over here is redesigned as far as the added slip work here, dock. But other than that,
It's no longer shared dock.
it's not. No, that's not other. Well, that was on the left-hand side over here. they once had original mooring space on this side of their facility. And that's no longer in existence now over here. So they rearranged their boating facility just to capture this area right in here. They did have some slips that they were paying for out here that were given to them, but that is no longer available to them, as I understand. But now they're just working in this area right in here. So what they propose to do is, again, as I point out here, is to replace and reconfigure timber floating docks and a timber float anchorage pilings to in a dredged berthing basin for improved berthing of recreational watercraft at a private yacht club marina. That's Mr. Hiltz is the agent on that one. So
What's the setback that shows, that's shown over there? Tough for me to see that. It's not that big. There you go. Upper right-hand corner, so 9 foot from the channel, but to the right,
over here,
a little more to the right, yeah, if you move over.
let's see if I can move this over. Let's see if I can do that. Let's see. Oh, wrong way. Oh, here we go.
Yeah, so 13 feet.
Yeah.
It's also on the channel.
9 feet from the federal channel here
Mm,
at the end of the dock. And not sure what this distance is here.
That's that's
Oh,
property
that's
line.
the property line right here. So yeah. 13 feet. Let me see, the previous one was. Yeah, so they added a slip in there. That was this is the previous arrangement here. Yeah. And they added, oh, I'm sorry. Yeah,
Looks
So
like it's a
there's
whole
other-
total design change.
well, from the inside here, I think they removed, I think one of these piers here. I saw,
And then they're moving the whole dock over
yeah,
so they could put slips on the other side there,
see, this
on the
is,
south side.
this is the proposed, yeah, this is the proposed plan here. Yeah, so they added this spacing over here.
Sure. One question I would like to ask Mr. Hiltz is if all of this work is within the perimeter outline of their existing structures. And so a question is, why do they need to get
Pre-application.
a new permit to reconfigure within that previously permitted perimeter? Because usually if you're working within a perimeter that's already approved, you don't have to get another permit. You can do it through a certificate. But that's one question. There were the 2 floats that are removed. Those were right up on the channel line. So the setback is actually a little bit better from this property than
Yeah, from here.
it was.
Yeah, this area here,
It's
they removed those.
it's still less than our general standard, but the compelling reasons why it could be less is that these structures have been in place for a long time. But if the commission was to agree to this, it wouldn't be setting a precedent for elsewhere.
Yeah, and plus
But-
the neighboring docks here, if we go back to one of the previous applications that we have in this, and right over here, we've allowed slips to be almost close to the boundary line here, to the Federal Navigation Channel up in here too, where the police boat is.
But one topic, just in terms of procedure, maybe in the future, is whether the commission wants to act on these pre-submission applications when a representative of the applicant isn't present to explain it. I know in other towns that as a part of their process or procedure, they require a representative of the applicant to be present to explain the proposal. I don't know if that's something we want to look at in the future or not.
Well, we still have another bite at the apple, so to speak, in which after this pre-application goes in, we'll see the formal application, which we can certainly comment on. Ask Mr. Hiltz for us, you know.
Hey, John, quick question. Scroll down to the proposed. So if you're 9 feet at the end of that finger, are they putting a boat at the end of that finger?
Or over here? Well,
Yeah, that end finger, that's all opened up where it's.
are you talking
20
about over here?
Yeah. So if you put a boat on there,
It's here.
that's approximately 12, 13-foot beam, are you gonna be overhanging that federal channel line?
Oh, it's coming in at the bow end over here.
Well, they have
Well,
another
it's gonna be the
transient
whole finger
parking
length.
only.
The end of
There's
the
another-
finger is 9 foot. If you put a boat on there, which is 11, 12 foot, are you gonna overhang?
Over in this, in direction over, you put it,
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah, I'm assuming they're gonna put something on the end of that T.
well, that's a question obviously we don't know until Mr. Hiltz perhaps.
You know,
The-
Don,
it's-
can I
it's
just
labeled-
interrupt? Can I just interrupt? I think the end, it looks like it's only 1 foot. The 9 foot is from the corner
Right here.
to
Yeah,
the federal channel.
that's correct. So,
But I think the width of that pier is only, or that dock is only,
I believe.
Structure's 9. Cool.
That's 12 feet is the width.
12 feet. There it is. Yeah.
It's 12 feet.
Doesn't look it per,
The dock is not 12 feet wide.
no, it's not.
That's what it looks like from.
It's
from
minus
that right
12
there.
there.
no, it can't be because this.
Oh, minus
It looks
12.
gotta be
Oh.
4 feet or
That's
something
my-
like that.
It's gotta
Right.
be depth or
It's a-
something. I don't
Maybe
know what
that's the
that is.
4, maybe that's
Usually
the
it's 4
4.
feet.
It's the
The
contour.
4, I think it's 4.
Contour.
Yeah,
Minus-
that 4 feet up
minus
at the
12
top
is the-
above 28. Yep.
All right,
Yeah.
I can read this for you guys. The minus 12 is the depth. The
Okay.
4
Over here.
above it is the
Over in
width.
this region right here.
The 4 feet is the width of the
The
dock.
4 feet is the width of the dock.
The dock itself, and the dock is labeled transient docking only at waterward face. So they're saying they're not putting a
Permanent.
not putting it
Right.
Yeah, so right here,
permanent.
right. Transit dock, okay, so nothing will actually, only transit, well, temporary mooring will be here. That's right.
Okay.
Table it until Mr. Hiltz comes in. and
Yeah, it's
signs.
for like restaurant parking or something. Parking, docking.
Yeah.
Sure.
Well, the commission's request, if you want to table it till next month, in the absence of Mr. Hiltz. Or we can go ahead and sort of give our usual standard, but you can go ahead and move forward with the application, and then we have the right to review that application in its entirety when it's submitted.
Did John Hiltz, was he planning on joining us tonight?
Well, that's what I just asked Amelia. I thought, but she sent him an invitation.
Yeah, I hadn't heard back from him, so I don't know if he was planning on it or not.
I have to say, I like Jeff's suggestion that we require representative to be here to present, although I don't think we should impose that now on John now necessarily. I think it's something that we should put in future.
Well, that was been the standard practice, Lori, all the time. And
Oh, okay.
representatives have usually attended, it just so happened that he's not here today.
Okay, I didn't realize it had been a requirement.
But
No, I wouldn't say that it was a formal requirement. We had it written down, but that has been a standard practice that we've had in the past, that all the applicants' agents be in attendance at our meeting.
I understand.
Don,
the
has
other,
that ever been written down? That's what the procedure should be? Is there an outline for a presenter or for an agent or for the property owner? What they should expect or?
I don't believe we're under any time pressure here because this was recently received, wasn't it, John?
Yeah.
So there's no time pressure. So looking at it over two commission meetings, including the one right after it's received and then the next one, that's not in violation of any time requirement for a respondent.
They should table it.
We can do that, and I'll send Mr. Hiltz an email regarding that, our request. All right, so we'll table this application till next month. I'll get in touch with Mr. Hiltz and make sure that he can make our next meeting.
That, my point, John, is there an outline of what the procedure is for our consultants and even property owners who might become before us of exactly what should
We've been
happen?
just taking
What
it
they
upon
should,
ourselves. It's not written down.
It's written down, John, in those flow charts and in the plan. I don't have a copy of the plan, but part of the recent flow chart for a procedure that we put together, although that wasn't adopted by the commission, that sets forth that the applicant will come to a commission meeting to explain the project. Of course, that's not
Goes the applicant or his agent.
applicant or its agent. Of course, that's not a regulation. It would be a
A requirement of the commission.
policy of the
Yeah.
commission.
You know, and
Yeah.
we've been holding true to that, you know, for the past several years and having an agent come forward, you know.
Deep on these pre-submission forms, and we didn't realize this, but not too long ago, they put a statement on the form that said, if the comment from the Harbor Commission is not received within 60 days, then the application will be considered consistent with the harbor management plan. I think we'd want to object to that anyway, but certainly we are within the 60 days, because we've always said that a reasonable period of time is 2 commission meetings, because one meeting you might have questions that have to take another meeting to answer. So having it over to two meetings is certainly not an unreasonable decision to make.
But
Yeah,
just out of
it-
curiosity, does anybody know when they're looking to do this?
There's no, when starting the project,
Yeah.
that I don't know.
I mean, I'm assuming based on the docks that are just to the north of them that are occurring pretty much as we speak, which we approved last year. I'm assuming they probably want to do it sooner rather than later, but I don't know for sure.
Yeah, I don't know, yeah, they didn't put a start date. Let me put this on this in here. The next for example, the next application that we had, which is a CAM application, I did see a start date of 2025, but there was no month involved, so. So, you know, they leave.
I guess, John, from a pre-application standard,
Yeah.
do we just want to use the standard language and have him
Well, that was it,
return
you know,
next
well,
month?
the standard language is that, you know, that we have no objection to the applicant moving forward, you know, with that. And they have the pre-application form. We just need to sign it and indicate that what our interests are, basically.
Do we want to just send that to keep this moving, or is there
Well,
specific questions?
No, in other words, we can either table it and then he has to explain the pre-application, or we can go ahead with this plan here and say that we have no objection for this applicant to move forward to a full, you know, to a more revised application.
Which they have to return to us anyways, right?
That's correct. That's correct. Yep. It's however you feel that you'd want to, you know, what you want to do on that.
Do we want to list some pointed questions that we have for John?
Well, that was the point, you know, I mean, I think Mr. Hilt should address some issues that we might have here with regard to the distance from the boundary lines of the channel, and make sure as far as what vessels are going to be adhered to what side of the dock and how long, that type of thing, at least what their overall plans are.
We just put a statement on our where we signed that the understanding is it doesn't vessels docked at the dock don't
Encroach
impede the federal channel.
Federal channel. Well, we can do that.
Because if you go bow north there, you know, you'd probably be fine with a lot of boats. If it goes stern north, it'd be a different story.
Oh, you mean talking about, yeah, well, they put a boat here, you know, parallel to the dock. You know, I don't know what the side of the beam is here. You have 9 feet here, you know, but by the time you have it, you know, on the edge over here, you know, it'd certainly be maybe 2 or 3 feet from the, you know, from the channel line.
Yeah, sure. I mean, bow forward may work, bow
Stern, yeah, exactly.
south may not, you know.
Right, exactly, yeah.
So you should just put a statement in there that says that it can't intrude on the federal channel.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
can usually do that but again, yeah, we can put that, but we can also put that also in the response to their formal application as well. You know?
Right.
I also think you should say something about it doesn't meet the normal setback requirement, but because of the pre-existing conditions and so forth, we're okay with that. But it
Well-
doesn't set a precedent for elsewhere, because the normal
No.
setback is 25 feet.
Well, it's called a transit slip, but they have to have some oversight there that the transit doesn't extend into the channel.
Yeah, we have the same concern, Alan, also on the east side basin too, with Vantage Point.
Exactly.
That same issue there holds true, where their dock is on an angle. And so one side of the dock, you can't put a vessel on there, but certainly on the other side,
Yes.
deep, you can put a dock, reasonable boat there temporarily moored.
I would just put, say that pre-approval is fine, with the caveat that vessels on that outer dock cannot intrude in the federal channel.
So have we untabled this?
We didn't table it, did we?
You did table it, now we're on table.
No, we were talking about table on it. We came to a conclusion, Chris.
Okay. Okay.
You know, if the commission feels as though you want to table it with the comments that we'll have, hold it off till next month and let Mr. Hiltz respond to that, and then we could, give them our review of that pre-application form, and then they move forward with their formal application. We do have another shot at the apple, basically, in reviewing that application, but.
And John, ask for a motion to table the review.
All right. I would have a motion to, for the
And we'll see.
138 Water Street to table that application till next month.
I second the
Favor
motion.
of tabling?
Second that, Chris?
Seconded.
Alan? Okay. All those in favor then? Okay.
Aye.
All right, so moved. All right, so I will send Mr. Hiltz a notification of that. And maybe just sort of briefly alert him to the comments so that he can respond to us next month.
I'll just make one comment about the arrangement here, as well as the transient at the top. You also only have 25 feet to the south. So they would not be able to put a boat that overhung into their adjoining property across their littoral.
Are you
property
talking, about here, Chris?
Yeah,
Plus
Well,
the 12-foot berth that they
12-foot
have, so
berth.
that's 25 feet.
25 feet, like I said, 25 feet.
Yep.
That, there's plenty of boats bigger than that out there. So they would be limited in the boats that they could rent to there.
All right. No problem, we can do that. All right,
Yeah, you shove a 25-foot boat in there and you're over the line.
you're talking this distance here, Jeff?
I'm
Yeah.
talking the entire distance, the 12-foot slip
From
and
here?
then the 13-foot.
You're talking here.
Yep, the entire, yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, anything bigger than a 22 or 23 foot boat would
22,
be over the property
23, yeah.
line- would be over the property line in a normal.
Go without saying that you can't dock a boat that goes over your property line? Or is that not true?
Well, we might have that issue dealing with 46 Shorefront Park.
In that area right there is a throughway to Total Marine, I believe, too.
On this side over here.
Yeah.
Mm.
They have slips opposite that. I mean, you can see in the aerial a few sheets above.
Let's go to here. Oh my God.
Oh, yeah.
Right, so they're talking here. Oh,
Yeah.
talking here, yeah.
Mm. Yeah,
Yeah.
Discussion.
Yeah, I think it's well worth the time to wait for Mr. Hiltz to sort of
Yeah.
his issues.
I think so.
yeah.
Right, good enough. All right.
All right, moving on.
Okay, let me stop sharing. The next application, I think everyone received, Chrissy received, it was a CAM application. And this was a CAM application near Village Creek, which is at 5 Outer Road. And the applicant is Benjamin Cherner, plans to demolish a 2-story single-family dwelling. They stand also demolish a concrete pool apron, a vinyl pool along with that, along with the bricks walkway and brick driveway. And they also plan to get rid of an existing septic system. And on site, let's say the site will be cleared and graded for construction of a new 2-story family building, dwelling, along with permeable sidewalks and walkways and driveways, and a new septic system. And they claim that the impervious surface area will be diminished from 21% to 13%. And with an increase in the permeable surface area with the type of stone walkway and stone driveway that they plan to put in. And the applicant cites that the proposed construction will result in negligible effect on existing stormwater quality and mimic the existing runoff patterns that it's currently there. So let's see, where's that? I thought I had the application. Let me see here. Where is it here? Over here. Let's see, what's the plans here? That's plans. It's only one view here. There's several documents that they sent through. That's not the right one.
Might have
Let me
said-
share. I've got
Yeah.
it open.
Wait a minute. These all individual plans. That's not what I want. Let's see, CAM report.
Want me to share, John?
You got it. You got it there, Chris. Let's see here.
Well, I have the drawings if you want to go through those first. I mean,
Let's see here. Okay, I've got, here they are. Oh, you got it up, Chris? Oh, you got it. Okay, yeah. Okay,
so this is,
I'll close that off.
I believe this is all new. I don't think this is all the new structure, not the one being demolished.
Well,
So
That's what the top of the plan there, what is that, the water or street, or what is that?
This is Outer Road here on the bottom. There's a
Okay.
seawall, and this is Hayes Creek looking, and so Manresa is right across the way here. I could see this house from my old house, so I'm familiar with the area. The applicant actually lives next door. And
yeah, this is three. There was 3 Outer Bank, and then there was 5. 5 Outer Bank is where they want to construct.
three Outer Road is where Mr.
Three
Turner
Outer
lives.
Road.
He's bought he's bought number 5, and he's an architect. He and his wife are architects. So this is there's quite a setback from the road. This is the city. The width of the road is actually, the city right of way is actually quite wide here, but this is the road, the driveway. There's a sort of an open lower level. This is quite low ground here, so it looks like what he's done.
He's elevating his property.
He's elevating it. So there's a patio at 8 feet here, an open space at 12.5 feet. And then the living space is this level, which I believe is like 17 or 18 feet.
Right.
You can see that better in the elevations. So living space, a lot of screened in porch area, bedroom.
Might have said something.
Open to below, a loft area, second bedroom, a second. So this is the second living space area, the third level, counting the open space underneath.
Yeah. Yeah, here it is. That's a better view. That's where they.
So this is the elevation. This is the east, looking east. So this is looking from Dock Road at the structure. So yeah, so the living space is raised to 17.5 feet.
Right, which would be FEMA compliant as far as their
Base flood is 15 here, it says.
Right.
I know the existing property flooded in Hurricane Sandy, for example. Breakaway
Okay.
at the screen. Okay. Yeah.
No, go on, Jeff. Yeah.
But the 2 considerations would be stormwater and water quality impacts, and also the reducing vulnerability to flooding. So the applicant cites that the construction will have a negligible effect on existing stormwater quality. So of course, that's different than having a significant improvement. So with respect to that consideration, we wouldn't say it's consistent with the harbor management plan.
Well,
But-
they're increasing their permeable surface, number one. They're getting rid of all of the impervious.
Yes, but
Parking.
they've also stated that it will have a negligible effect on existing conditions.
Well, and that's correct, because the water flows out to an outer bank, and they mentioned, outer road.
So I would think with respect to the water quality concerns that we might have, as long as it's not making things worse, but if it's not making it significantly better, we wouldn't say it's consistent with the harbor management plan. We just have no objection to that. But with respect to reducing flood vulnerability, if they are doing that, that would be something that we could say is consistent with the harbor management plan, reducing flood vulnerability. So I think those are the two considerations, but also with the permeable pavement, that requires maintenance. So if we were to say that it's consistent with the harbor management plan because it reduces the vulnerability to flooding, I think we'd also want to have a statement saying that there should be a condition about ongoing maintenance of the permeable pavers. Those are my thoughts.
Well, no, they're not putting pavers, I think they're putting stone or something. I think they're putting
Well, it's a gravel driveway.
gravel, yeah.
They're
Oh,
eliminating a pool in the back. I have no idea how pools are accounted for in drainage calculations.
And they have a new septic system going in along with that.
But in
So,
any
And
event,
there is a Coltech, I believe.
yes,
At some point they say that, yes.
Yeah, I saw it on one of those drawings.
that's why I
There it
wonder,
is.
There's trench drain to retaining area to the,
that's why I wonder why they make the statement it will have a negligible effect rather than saying that it will be an improvement.
I did look at their the environmental plan that they presented. As a matter of fact, I think it was done by his company too, I think, as a matter of fact.
Yeah.
Well, anyone would like to make a motion, not belaboring this, make a motion to move forward with this application, again, with the idea that we will make comment as far as the drainage system and also
I'll make
the,
that motion.
John, this isn't a deep permit. This is.
no, it's a CAM
permit.
application. We're gonna send this to,
So
Nice boys, Chris.
Oh, thank you.
we're sending this to the
P&Z.
planning and zoning as to,
This is our one chance unless there was we reserve the right to make a comment if it goes to a public hearing.
Mhm.
But it's not a pre-submission.
no,
So whatever statement we want to make for P&Z to consider, we should make it now,
all right, so the comment,
in my opinion.
yeah. So the comments that we'd make again is the level of, as far as it's being compliant with the flood zone. And then that the what we have to say about it's been inconsistent with the plan. We can just say that
I think that the choice is whether to say this is consistent with the harbor management plan, because it's an improvement over the reducing the vulnerability of existing development to flooding, or just to say we have no objection.
I think the easiest thing is say we have no objection to the plan, because planning and zoning also would be looking at their water runoff issues as well too.
I'm just thinking it is an improvement in terms of vulnerability to flooding. It's raising the property.
Right, well, that's one thing, that's right.
And is that enough to
Yeah,
make you say it's consistent with the harbor management plan because of that?
well, now you're getting into sort of minutia as far as.
Because those are the two things,
We,
flooding and water quality.
Well, we'll put something together as far as managing, as far as the water quality management and also the aspect of flooding and being FEMA compliant with regard to raising the structure. So we could put some language in with regard to that and address that issue and send it over to planning and zoning.
If you have an objection, again,
No, I don't.
what's your
You don't have any, objection to completely to the plan at all, no? Any,
Can I make a motion that it's consistent because they're reducing their risk of flooding and they're decreasing the impervious surface?
well, that was my, my thinking in the whole thing. I certainly had no problem with the way they presented the material. If you look at their review of the runoff, it's everything. They made sure that the
Before we
embankment.
have before we have a discussion, let's have a second on the motion. Before, somebody want to second Laurie's motion?
Oh, all right, I'll second that motion, but they in their application, they did talk about regrading the entire property so that much of the drainage is going toward 5 Outer Road, and existing to the existing sewage system. They decreased the impervious surfaces and more pervious drainage that they have in there. I didn't see a major issue with regard to any significant impact it's going to have on the any drainage into the harbor itself.
Well, there is no septic system there. I mean, there is no
Sewer.
there's
No,
no storm drain.
No storm
No
drain.
storm drain there.
It's just whatever runs off onto, Outer Road, which is
Outer Road will just take a slightly more circuitous route to the
to
sound.
the sound, as it would normally,
Well, my thought would be in the discussion it's reasonable to say it's consistent with the harbor management plan because of reducing the vulnerability to flooding. But since the applicant his or herself has said it will have only a negligible impact on the existing stormwater quality, I just leave that out of it and just say consistent because of the reducing flood vulnerability.
all right.
They haven't made the statement that it's going to significantly improve stormwater. We're inferring that from what's been said, but they haven't said that in their statement.
We have a motion. We need to move along.
There is a motion and it was seconded, so
Yeah.
we just need a vote.
Okay. All those in favor.
Laurie's motion seconded? Sorry, I missed that.
Yeah, it was. John
I-
Pinto seconded it.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So we'll make that comment,
Opposed?
send that out to,
Any opposed? Opposition? Abstention? Okay, we're done with that one.
we're done. We're finished with applications tonight.
Okay, thank you, John. Reports, I get to go first. Just a couple of things I've noted. One is Jeff has mentioned the importance of having a memorial for one of our deceased members, and a lot of organizations don't do memorials because what happens is you end up with a object, a sign, a placard, something that has to be maintained, and it becomes a burden going forward, or it looks like crap and just deteriorates. So I think that we should have a discussion, and I'd ask that I'll put it on the agenda for our next meeting, about what our feeling about is memorializing past commissioners with signage and things like that. There's a feel-good side to it, but on the other hand, the person is no longer with us in this case, so it doesn't really matter to them, So I will put that on next month's agenda. I just ask you to think about that a little bit. What we want to do is policy as a commission. For information, several of us are on the Strategic Harbor Plan Steering Committee. We have a good representation from the Harbor Management Commission. We had our first official meeting on Tuesday. That project does include the Street Ends project that started with Chris McDonald and the Harbor Commission well over a year ago now, to look at the street ends.
4 years ago.
How many?
4 years ago, we
Yeah, I believe
So-
that was the beginning of it.
It's gonna get some attention now, and we will see what happens. I will report back from what happens at those meetings. The one we had was really primarily organizational and not terribly exciting, although they've added a new line item called moorings on the list of items that they're going to tackle. So I sent a note to the chair of that commission, of that committee, or to the consultant, asking what the mooring piece is, because it wasn't really real hasn't been described as yet. I think that's something that we'd be very interested in knowing what the objective there is, or what information they're gathering. So that's what's going on there. Any questions about the Strategic Harbor Plan Steering Committee?
No, Alan, what do you mean? They have a person designated to address moorings?
No, it's one of the items on their list of things to address. So it was not very clear at the meeting, so I've sent a note asking for clarification of what they mean by
And
moorings.
the moorings that we have stated in the harbor management plan as insufficient?
I'll find out. That's the question.
Okay, I'd be
So-
very interested in that, Alan, because what I have a feeling right now is that they're going to be reinventing the wheel,
No, I don't,
you know, and I'd like to
I
see
understand your, I understand your concern.
what value they're going to add to what we've already had. I'd be interested in seeing what value that they're adding. That's my you know, because we're paying, there's a lot of money being involved, you know, so I'd like to see what they're going to usurp already from the Harbor Commission that's already there, and how much is new as far as they present. What are they going to bring to the table? And that's what I'd be very interested to find out.
Thank you, John.
I think that was a big
Um,
question we all had, John, so, well,
We have a heavy population of harbor commissioners on this.
Oh, good. Okay.
So it's not like a fait accompli, but I'm very interested to know what they are doing with moorings. If they want to propose a larger mooring area, I'd be all for that. We'll just see what happens. The other thing is that keeps coming up that I think we should address, and we might talk about it. I'll put it on the agenda next week, is, doing a presentation, Harbor Commission presentation to the Common Council. I'm still baffled by what we would really have to say there. And just to not have a discussion now, but I think there's two ways that organizations such as ours do, improve their lot in life and get more attention. And one is by demanding respect by just saying how important you are, and this is why you should listen to me. And the other is earning respect. And that's been my experience in my pretty long career now, is that, you respect is something you really earn rather than legislate or do through paperwork, I guess. So we can discuss that next week, but what I really am getting at is that I think what we need to start working on right now is developing personal relationships with city departments with whom we have common interests in the harbor, and things that coordinate with our interests and the city's interests, and things that the city thinks that it's in charge of. And I think we have a lot of expertise that's really ignored because we haven't always been perceived as the friendliest organization in town. Good example, Jeff Mangles has really developed a really strong relationship with Recreation and Parks on the dock situation in our moorings, and having places at the Parks and Rec facilities for docking our transient mooring people. It's working very, very, very well because we're communicating, and nobody's trying to jump into anybody's crap in anybody's nest. Everybody's working to the same goal. So I think that's something that's very positive way of working. Another example is Don Rebson has a lot of experience working with our Department of Public Works. And I talked to Don at some length a couple of weeks ago about sort of becoming our liaison with the Public Works Department, because I think it's a lot of things that have happened could be avoided if we're just having those kinds of general discussions and developing respect for one another. So that's on my mind. And Don has agreed to sort of liaise in that way, just sharing ideas and showing that we have no talk about and our ideas are valuable to the city. Other things, that we need to perhaps have someone to reach out for is the marinas, boat and yacht clubs also going to have some connection with those guys on a casual but semi-official basis of just what we're all about. We do that with shellfishing. John goes to the shellfishing committees regularly, so I appreciate Dr. Pito doing that. The Seaport Association is something else we should really reach out to and have some conversation with, as well as it concerns Sheffield Island and Betts Park and things that go on in the harbor. And again, I had a very long talk with the past president of the Seaport Association, who's an industry friend of mine, whom I've known for years, about things that the commission really could be doing hand in hand with the Seaport Association to make Norwalk a better place. Same is true for the Maritime Aquarium. We don't have any official real working relationship with those guys, but we should have conversations with them from time to time. And the last one really is just city and community engagement, which we're doing with our newsletter and all. So Chris White's been working on that, and I'm looking forward to sort of expanding his role. So those are things that are on my mind that I'm going to be working on going forward, and I think that we should just kind of continue to work, and people take on different areas of where they have interest and expertise, and just chatting up and meeting with the city departments that they feel they could have a relationship with. So
Alan, you know,
that's my report.
Yeah, what troubles me with what you said in the beginning is that it finds that the commission is either difficult to work with, or it's not been friendly to work with. I don't understand that, because we're probably the only city commission that has the right to review applications and review those applications with, certainly with the cities in mind. But we've never been obstruction. We've never been negative. We've always proposed, in a positive manner, and worked for the city in some of the things that we've done. So I don't understand why we've been a difficult commission to work with. Maybe it goes back to when we were trying to get the underwater transmission lines dealt with that we had a little tete-a-tete with DPW, where they said to go along with this object of having our high tension wires going between the docks and the pilings at the visitors dock. I don't know. But I don't know why we have been considered not friendly to deal with. That's what I don't understand.
My perception from just talking to people. And so we need to be aware of that, and
I'd like to know who talking
work
to
to be
who.
better.
I mean,
Pardon me?
well, I mean, in what manner have we been difficult, to deal with? Not excessive
This is
obstruction.
I'd have a conversation with you offline, but I don't think it's something we need to do now. But that's one of the.
They pass judgment on the commission, and I think we have a right to respond to that. And I'd like to know why and how they felt that way, because we've always been receptive to anything that any of the other city commissions did. We worked very closely with planning and zoning, with people from DPW, and we've also worked closely with Parks and Rec. And I don't think we've been negative or obstruction with any of those departments.
Be improving our relationships with all those departments is what I'm saying.
Okay. Well,
just to be friendly and to be, again, I don't think there's an understanding of the expertise that's all the commissioners have from their experience.
Of some of the accomplishments that we have done as a commission. I mean, we've been very fortunate to have at least the amount of money that we've brought into this city, on behalf of the visitors dock and other aspects dealing with the parks itself. Betts Park, getting money for for the street ends, and so I think we've worked in a positive manner. We've gotten money on our own behalf for the sake of the city. So I don't know how much more that we could certainly. Well, okay, well, we can certainly address that later.
It's very important that with the Harbor Commission be really viewed as an organization to which they can go to. Gather information and ideas and other thoughts other than what they
know exactly
do on their
what
own.
we've done, what of our accomplishments, what we've accomplished so far. And I think the presentation, if you saw the presentation that we put together several years back for John Romano's benefit when he was going to do that, you'll see exactly what the commission has done and brought forward on behalf of the city. I think it's very commendable, some of the things that we've done in the past. And we have a track record to show that.
Fine. We're going to discuss this as we go forward, and I'm trying to ask individuals if they have an individual place where they'd like to kind of interface with the city on a casual basis, not just on a per project basis or on a after the fact basis. We tend to have identify things after city has already taken steps, and that's not always a good place for us to be coming on the after other people have made up their mind of what they want to do. Anyway, I think we have a lot to offer, and I don't think it's we get the respect that we deserve for that.
Right.
So, time to move along. Is anyone here from Shellfish? We have no Shellfish commission here. Harbor Master Lavallo.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As of today, there's 89 mooring renewals. I'm still waiting on 31 people to renew. And out of that 89, 41 of them, I'm working with the mooring inspectors that they have to have their moorings inspected for this year so far. DC Harbor Master Owen Lee and Mike Vinci, Deputy Harbor Master Mike Vinci, been doing the harbor boat maintenance every week. They check on the boat, and Harbor Master Owen went out the other day and almost got stuck out in the end of the harbor. So I've been dealing with All Seasons, and it's not a motor issue. It's a fuel issue with water getting into the fuel. So that was yesterday's problem. So I had the boat pulled today, and it's in the custody of All Seasons, and they believe it's the sending unit gasket is gone, so water was getting into the tank. So hopefully we can get the boat back in the water next couple of days. And then a couple of weeks ago, the Marine unit, Deputy Harbor Master Lee and myself got an email from an individual from Oyster Bend that they were complaining that they thought the tug went up the river and pushed a whole bunch of ice and did damage to their docks. But due to Deputy Harbor Master Lee's flying the drone, we had evidence that the ice was intact. It wasn't pushed by any barge, and Deputy Harbor Master Lee contacted the tug company, and they didn't do a delivery since before Thanksgiving. So we think due to our little investigation, it was just ice, from the tide, just pushing and up against the dock and did some damage. So that was last month's and this month's end of my report. Have
Has that been resolved? The complaint about the damage or?
if Deputy Master Lee wants to step in, I think they made contact with that individual, and we haven't heard back from anybody.
As long as I just want to be sure it was settled,
As far as I'm concerned, it's settled. We informed the parties as to what we believe transpired. They specifically said that it was a barge that came through, and we were able to prove that the barge had not come through, and no vessel at the point in time that they stated the damage occurred, you know, you needed an icebreaker to get back there. So it was definitely some type of ice heaving. And I think that they took that as a plausible, you know, explanation
Conclusion.
for what happened. Yeah.
Yeah, so they wanted to know like what's the procedure for ice, and I kind of explained in my email what the process is. The tug company usually reaches out to me or Deputy Harbor Master Lee, since he's at the Marine unit, and they ask us about ice condition before they come upriver. So Owen usually goes out and does a spot check either with a drone, which is beautiful, or takes the boat and they go up and do a spot check. So
Thank you, Bruce. And thank you, Owen. Mr. Stedman.
Unmuted.
Thanks, Alan. I try not to talk too long, but there are a lot of things to mention, and some really important things I also think. The first about the memorial you mentioned, and we brought that up with respect to Tony Mobilia, who had passed away at the Veterans Park Marina. And we had talked about the idea of, once the marina is rebuilt, perhaps renaming it or part of it after Tony, just as we had done with, or
They've done it.
We'll talk about that next. That will be on the agenda next month.
All right,
So
well,
people can think about it a little bit.
all righty. First thing then about the SHIP grant for the money for the rebuilding of the marina. We continue to communicate with the Port Authority that was not put on the bond commission agenda, as you know, from last December. It looks like we're hoping that it would be on the agenda for this April. But again, there's no guarantee about that. The governor sets the agenda. There's also an interesting bill that's pending in the legislature now that would make private harbor infrastructure projects also eligible for SHIP grants from the Port Authority. And of course, that would take away from the detract a little bit, or take away from the money that's available for the public projects. So I haven't been following that bill as closely as some others. February 8th. Oh, and Mr. Bardish is in Florida working. Was not able to join the meeting tonight. But I can report that he and I and Pete Johnson went to the annual gathering of Shellfish Commissions on February 8th in New Haven, which is an interesting and informative gathering as it's always been. And getting back to our project, and I've been delayed with getting. Sorry, Mike, but we've been trying to put together some displays on the history of shellfishing in Norwalk, using the murals, the images of the murals from the City Hall. Discussed that with the Bureau of Aquaculture and also with Sea Grant. And they're supportive, and they look forward to seeing when we put these together. And we're also combining those with the 1889 map of the natural shellfish beds that we have. But the meeting of the Shellfish Commissions was interesting. They gave, we also had, again, displays that we do have so far of Norwalk Harbor, including the area that we're talking about as an opportunity area for the shellfish enhancement project south of Veterans Park. So that was one of our displays. And then they gave me an opportunity to speak about a matter that I described as important, not just to Shellfish Commissions, but of course to all the harbor commissions. And that's the pending bill now, number 6914, to amend the Harbor Management Act. And that's been the focus for many of us in the last couple of weeks, to try to move that bill forward. It was the subject. Well, I think I talked last month. It was a proposed bill at the time, and there were 8 representatives and senators who had introduced that bill. A number had signed on as co-sponsors. So that made it to the Environment Committee, and the Environment Committee then issued the raised bill. And we learned at the last minute there was a public hearing on it last Wednesday in Hartford. I might say that all of the Stanford delegation, Greenwich, Fairfield, New London, others have expressed support for this. And then I was asked to come up to testify about it with Senator Wong on Wednesday. And the interesting thing about doing that is that you don't sign up random and you get called whenever they come to your name in the order that you submitted it. So Senator Wong was to be third. However, in the morning, we received a letter from the DEP commissioner objecting strongly to the proposed bill. And in my opinion, and the opinion of others, completely misrepresenting the purpose and the substance of the bill. So we worked on Wednesday morning, and Senator Wong was able, after the commissioner spoke, to read comments from the Fairfield Harbor Management Chair, respectfully and politely saying that the DEP commissioner's comments did not reflect the purpose of the bill. And so without going on into a long dissertation about it now, again, many of us feel this is the most important thing we're dealing with. Because right now, there's no legal authority, according to the court case, for us to do what we did with the Ashoda Yacht Club, to review and even make comments on that. And as you know, the DEP is not obligated to listen to what the commission says. So how we advance this now, I know there are legislators who are trying to get an audience with the commissioner to try to address this, and the bill was originally, the people who introduced it came from Eastern Connecticut and Western Connecticut and in the middle. So I think it's recognized by DEP that there's more support and understanding for this bill now than there was 2 years ago. But where this goes, and we've been working on, sort of around the clock to try to address this. I know the mayor of New London is in the process of trying to meet with the DEP commissioner. We don't, John can mention, we did reach out to Norwalk's delegation, but haven't heard back.
Very disappointing.
So that
Extremely disappointing.
that's a significant significant thing that we're working on now. The other thing is I went last week, as I always do, to the meeting of the Norwalk River Watershed Initiative. And this is a project going back to 1998 that the Harbor Commission and the Shellfish Commission were helped develop this in the first place. So now through Sea Grant and also through the Southwest Conservation District, they have a grant to provide an update of the watershed-based plan. And they've hired an engineering firm, Ty and Bond, to work on this. But it's very interesting, as I mentioned before, 25 plus years ago, this was really a community project where everyone was working together, many different groups, numerous meetings. In fact, Dave Donovan, I mentioned him before, he was instrumental in leading stream walks and with citizen involvement. This is going to be a little bit different. This is going to be what they call a tabletop exercise, of course, by a firm that's outside the watershed, to come up with an update to the goals and the vision of the watershed plan. There'll be a stakeholder group that's formed. They're committed to 4 public meetings over the course of 2 years. It's going to be quite interesting, but we're providing a lot of the information that we developed 25 years ago to show what's been accomplished. And then the other thing that we talked about last week is how's the plan going to be used? What's the value of it? Is it a guidance document? Who owns it, or who implements it? And then in the course of that, we talked last Wednesday about the status of the DOT's project at the Route 7 and Merritt Parkway interchange, which is a significant project. We saw an article 2 months ago in the newspaper. On the DOT website, it talks about it's still in preliminary design. But that's the sort of project that I really believe that the commission should be involved with. And if not demand, at least promote the same solution to stormwater management from roadways as DOT agreed to with the Yankee Doodle Bridge. So when I bring that up, nobody seems to have an answer about the status of that project, including I didn't hear back from DEP. But that's something. And then also part of that, John mentioned presentations. We have an excellent presentation on water quality in Norwalk Harbor that we put together for a DEP conference in 2019. And that could easily be updated now. And actually the watershed group asked if I could send a copy to them. We also have from the harbor management plan that the excerpt of the water quality policies and provisions, as well as the shellfish management provisions. So that should all be part of the background information for the update to the plan. The work still has not started yet. Another thing, as you know, next Wednesday, March 5th, there's a community engagement meeting on the Manresa Island project at the Maritime Aquarium, which I think a lot of us are looking forward to attending. And my strong suggestion is, as done in other towns, that the commission should communicate with the developers of this project to make clear what the role of the Harbor Management Commission is. It's to be involved in the planning process to share and provide information that will be helpful to the development of the plan. But the commission also has a responsibility to the public to review the plans that are developed and to review all of the regulatory applications. And as we talk about the regulatory applications, one significant part is the remediation part of it. And then there's also the question of public access. So my suggestion is for next week that the commission make a statement as to the role of the commission, looking forward to the stakeholder engagement process, but also making clear that the commission has a public responsibility to review their plans. Another topic, and you tell me to stop it now, I know I'm taking a lot of time, is the letter that DEEP sent back to the Harbor Commission and the Shellfish Commission in response to our expressed concerns about the Eversource public hearing. I don't know how many of you have reviewed that letter, but I think it's something that we all should be aware of. The letter back from DEEP, and that was dated January 16th. And just as an example of these issues, one of the concerns we had was that in the public hearing process, the presentation by Eversource was, I think, fairly to say inadequate because it didn't say much at all. The response back from DEEP was that the hearing officer doesn't know what the presentation is going to be before the hearing. And if we wanted to ask questions, we should have been an intervener to the process. That's an example of one of the responses. Also, we said it would have been helpful if DEEP in a public hearing has the documents that are submitted during the public hearing on a website where people can see them. DEEP agreed, but they also said we could have called the DEP staff and they would have provided documents to us. We also expressed concern about the apparent independence of the hearing process, especially when the Eversource attorney previously was a DEP hearing officer. But DEEP's response was that the reviews are independent and everything is in accordance with the applicable statutes. We also suggested that in complicated issues such as this, that DEEP might want to retain outside experts to provide input or get outside input. And the response was that the DEP staff is expert, and if we wanted to be interveners, we could have brought in our own experts. But the one thing that was quite interesting is our question about why did DEEP, or how did DEEP determine that the Eversource project is consistent with the harbor management plan? And when our concern was that there needed to be a condition in the permit that said if there's more expense for the city in the future to rebuild the dock, Eversource has to pay for it. And the response was that before we made those comments in July of 2023, the city had reached an agreement with Eversource in February 2023, whereby Eversource agreed to assist the city in the future. So therefore, DEEP determined that the project was consistent with the Norwalk Harbor Management Plan. I'm just wondering if there should be a response to that. But anyway, I'll stop now. But the biggest thing, the most important thing is this pending legislation, in my opinion, and how that relates. And as the mayor of New London has mentioned, and others, the court decision affects not just the existing plans, but it affects all the towns that are updating their plans. And so what does DEEP approve? Do they take out that we don't have authority anymore to review state applications, or how do they address that? But that's what some of us have been working on for the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, I wanted
Thank
to
you,
add to that, Alan, because I did contact the mayor, because we all agreed that we were certainly, from the Harbor Commission standpoint, is backing that bill, as well as the proposal to sort of change that type of legislation that was proposed by that judge that sort of judge that was so ill-informed that passed the edict that we do not have the responsibility to review applications from the state. But Mayor, I wanted to say, was very receptive to that. He agreed to back that, and with the idea that he would contact several of our state reps, our representatives here, and that represented Norwalk. Not one of them has responded. Norwalk has been the only community around that has not responded to start backing that bill. All the other commissions upstate and downstate, Stanford, Greenwich, Stratford, Philford, Milford, New London, and even farther north from the farther east from the in the state, have backed the bill. And I was sort of a little taken aback by the fact that no one from Norwalk has come forward, you know, and I don't know what the hesitation is, type thing. So
one more part of my report is lost it in all my notes here, is that we talked about moving ahead with trying to begin a federal dredging project in Norwalk Harbor. And the person who would be the project manager, most likely from the Corps of Engineers, is someone that I've been working with now for a number of years. But she said we certainly have to make a case as to why it's needed, and we'll be in line. But interestingly, the Corps finished, and John and Steve did get a chance to come down and visit it. A very interesting project in Southport Harbor right at the end of January. And you mentioned Bruce mentioned the drone. In Fairfield, the engineering department operated a drone in coordination with the project. We had wonderful shots of and this is significant because it's not open water dredging. It's removing a big sandbar encroachment. So the drone was really valuable to show conditions before the excavation and during and afterwards. So I'm sure it can have a valuable role here in Norwalk too. Yeah. And this year, as I think I mentioned at the Shellfish meeting, and in the Southport project, it's interesting because the military leaders from both the New England district and the Wilmington, North Carolina district came, because both were involved, and mentioned that this is the 250th anniversary of the Corps of Engineers. Goes back to the Battle of Bunker Hill. And so during this year, we're putting together, sort of the history of the Corps and maintaining navigation projects in Connecticut as part of the 250 year work that they're putting forth. Thank you.
Jeff, and you mentioned again, I thought it was very interesting too, what the Army Corps, and I guess in Southport, proposed to do with the sediment that they're gathering. I think it'd be interesting for the commission to hear.
Well, it's a completely different project than what we would do and what we did and what we would do in Norwalk, because the material is clean sand that's drifted into the channel. So in order to make that project work, we had to come up with a way of putting that sand to beneficial use. And there was a long planning process because it wasn't needed on town beaches. So working with the Bureau of Aquaculture, we placed it offshore. I say we, the Corps of Engineers did, where on a silty bottom to build up the bottom, and then the Bureau of Aquaculture is going to plant oysters on it next year. So it'll be a pilot project for oyster habitat.
Hey, Jeff, we need to move on.
Yeah.
All right, I'll stop. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, and thank you very much. Mooring and harbor safety, Mr. Mangles.
Sure. Thank you, Alan. DACWA, the renewal has been signed by the city. It's $2,028 for 2025. That from it was 2,000 in 2024. That's 1.4% increase. I contacted Ken Hughes, notifying him that I had the hard copy of the fleet award, and I'll drop that off at the Dockmaster facility at the city ramps. And I also sent him the media kit. Moorings, the online moorings are coming in as Harbor Master Lovallo stated, something like 89 or 90 or something like that. Transient moorings, as I stated for months now, we will be pulling those and inspecting. So I reached out to Norm Edwards of Edwards Marine today, and I expect to get that coordinated. harbor safety and island safety. So working with the harbor master, recreation and parks, and Boy Scouts to clean up and work on the islands. Reached out to the troop 222, Boy Scout troop 222. And we've had meetings with an Eagle Scout, a Boy Scout that is working on his Eagle Scout ranking. And we have some dates that we will be going out to the various islands, mainly Shea and Grassy. And I'd love for them to do it all, but you know, we have to select what needs to be done. But they want to get a better grasp on how the islands are. There are no boating safety issues except for the potential dock issue that was already discussed. They do not have bubblers there either, so I think that the ice and the pile jacking was the cause of their damage. Bruce, Harbor Master Lavallo, also talked about the Harbor Master boat. Yep, so if it's a gasket that's an issue, we'll do that. And while they're at it, they will also give it a tune-up, make sure that everything is ready for this season. The drone purchase, speaking of drones, that order was placed. And the drone was actually shipped today, and I have a tracking number. It's going to be here February 28th. That's Friday. And I'll make sure Owen gets that into his hands before I do any damage to it.
How's big is a drone, Jeff?
What's that?
How big is the drone?
I don't know. I mean, it's not huge, but it's, you know, you can't lift a car or deliver pizzas. You can't deliver pizzas with it. You can't deliver a car.
Okay.
You know, you can't do anything like
But
that.
it has a little bit more capabilities than the one that we had before.
Absolutely. So the benefit here is that it has its own controller with its own screen, so you don't have to pair it with a Bluetooth, pairing it with the controller on a cell phone. So that makes it sort of dangerous to fly because if you're trying to answer your phone, but you can't, you know, and that because that's your screen, but not anymore. Now this is its own unit.
Oh, nice.
It does have better camera. It has longer battery life. Can zoom in. Yep, you could zoom in. You could do all of that good stuff. So it's going to be, you know, really, really useful for a number of things.
What
you know, and
distance does it take? How long was it? A half mile? What's?
I think Owen just spoke about that the last time, but it should be able to make it to the islands and back. I mean, you know, it should be able to do that. You know,
I think Owen flies it from the boat.
Yeah, the range just completely varies on line of sight and satellite coverage and all that stuff. But typically, you know, it's close to 2,500, 3,000 feet in that range. But it can be extended. I can actually send this one. I can send out pre-programmed, and it'll come back to my location. So you can just send it out as far as you want because the controller has nothing to do with that, and then it'll just return.
Wow.
Yeah, low battery life. It knows what's going to happen, so it comes home, flies home, which is where it took off from. All right, that's it. That's all I have. One other thing. Sorry, it is not at the Maritime Aquarium. The Manresa discussion community involvement. It's at Brian McMahon High School. Just to let you know. Just a correction there.
They moved it because there was so much response. They needed a bigger venue.
Yeah. I've already got my tickets.
Any questions for Jeff? All right, finance, Mr. McDonald.
Good evening, everyone. Earlier today, I sent out the report I created off of our monthly flow sheet. Let me share and we can do brief. I should on there. Okay. So just to familiarize you all with the format, this is what we've been using for years. So I've inherited this, but anyways, on a monthly basis, I get a report from the city where all the expenditures directly go through. And we log it in here under the categories we've set up for our budget for revenue and expenses. I sum it up on both a calendar year thing because that's what our bylaws require, but the city is on a July 1st fiscal year. So I also do a similar report, but this is a good this is a good format because all of our revenues and expenses are very much clustered in the boating season and not so much in so it's when we split it July 1st, it kind of makes the numbers wonky sometimes. So to go over it, in June and July, we were both received, because the fiscal year split here, at the end of the fiscal year, we received the 23-24 grant. And then in July, we received the 24-25 grant. So we received 35, we received 2 years grants within 2 months. And that's why this is bumped up quite high. We usually ask for 20,000, I think 20,000 last year, 15,000 this year. There's a line here for interest, that's $500. The main revenue comes off of, so online mooring is the permanent mooring, the permanent individual moorings. And that's $10,500 a year. And then for the 3 managed fields, Norwalk, Rowayton, and Sprite, that's $18,500, $8,000, and $3,800 roughly. So we pull in $41,000 a year off of the annual moorings. DOCWA manages we manage it. DOCWA does the billing for transient moorings. That totaled out to $3,383 last year. In revenues from DOCWA, that's a total of $79,955. Again, that's a little high because we've received 2 years of city grants there. To go into the expenses, Harbor Master is $1,000 a month, and also under the Harbor Master general heading, we had about $9,000 in boat maintenance that happened last year. All this is within budget. There's not a budget compared to this because the budget is done on the city year. Makes it very complicated, but anyways, online mooring charges. So this is the monthly or the fees we pay for the annual moorings, and that's on the $2,018. We also had $2,000 to DOCWA, and I forget what this $4,700 was. We didn't have any other mooring or improvement expenses last year, though we do budget for that. Under professional services, there's the secretarial services to LESCO, Mr. Stedman's services, professional services, and there's some, I don't know why this comes up, but we got a refund of some kind of payroll accrual. The other main expense we have is supporting the water quality program, and that mainly goes to the interns. That was $6,886 last year. Some years we have quite a lot in lab fees. This year there was only $258 in expenses that got charged towards us. Don't know why, but so that sums up to $43,000 in expenses. We basically expend what we bring in, and then we get money from the city. So we have money, but this again, the city money is done on a different budget. I'll throw that up there just so you can see that. The classifications are slightly different, but this is the 24-25 request. We have again, I say this every time we talk, we budget quite a lot of money for mooring improvements and other things that we often do not spend. So it'd be good to get out there. We've been lucky with abandoned vessel removal. We haven't been dinged for that in the last 2 years, I think. After having a bad experience with that a couple of years ago. So, anyways, we are doing well. Our budget is sound. We have 70 as of the end of the year. We had $73,236 on hand. That's the bottom line there. Any questions about all this?
You know, we budget for a lot of things that we don't receive bills for from the city and other things. And that's like we don't pay for have a fuel item for our harbor master boat in
Yeah.
years. So I'm not sure how the fuel for the harbor master boat is paid unless it's just goes to the police department or the marine police, which is possible since our number is pretty low compared to the others, you know, and it's all the city. But I think that what happens is we budget for things and then we don't necessarily have the expense. We have the revenue and we have the accrual, but we don't have the cash going out, which I've not seen a bill for any mooring inspections or anything of that nature for our harbor moorings over several years. So I'm just, you know, curious about how that works.
I think we did budget for that. I think we plan on doing some of that, right, Jeff? Mooring inspections for our transient. Well, our transient moorings are
absolutely. So the mooring inspections have to happen this year. We purchased new floats or new. I don't want to call them balls because they're cans, but anyway. So we're going to have whatever maintenance that we need to do. It's every 2 years, of course. So it's going to be the inspection. It's going to be the lines. You know,
pickup lines,
the chains, pickup lines, and chains. So we're gonna have all of that. I'm also looking to see if we can acquire a couple of docks that we can place on mushrooms. So that we can go ahead and land or transients can land on those docks instead of a mooring. And those would be just south of the Vets Park docks. The visitor docks, not the city docks.
Right. Yep. Everything we can get billed before July 1st. We certainly have a
that'll be billed well before July 1st.
Good.
Go ahead.
Just real quick, just with fuel with the boat, you know, if the marine unit uses the boat, they cap it off on their budget, and then, you know, due to my medical condition last summer, I couldn't get out there, so. But I pay, you know, I go to the pump, I pay cash, and then I submit it to Amelia. So, but that was kind of light year because of my operations last year. That's going to change this year, so be ready.
Before Chris did the bookkeeping, and I did that for several years, and I never saw a fuel charge for anything either. So I just, you know. It's fine if somebody's contributing to the harbor commission that way. But.
Yeah, the marine unit was capping that off.
Okay.
And isn't isn't it unusual, I would think, that we receive both grants in 1 year? So that's making our net higher than it normally would be?
Yes. So, yeah. So because it's
it's still got the cash on hand, but.
Right. That sort of inflates it a little bit now because we won't get another grant until at least August, if not, you know, it could be any time from July 1st, 2025 to June 2026, we get the next grant. That's the grant cycle we've requested for. But
revenue from the health department, because they we usually get a grant from them that offsets all of those water quality intern expenses out at the islands. And
We have not gotten that or the contribution from Shellfish in a while.
are we sure that $15,000 isn't from the health department by any chance? That's kind of the order of magnitude that used to be, that's all.
I believe that the health department. Yeah. I don't know. It says city. It just comes in as a line.
Yeah, that may be, we need to track that down with our accounting gal, because I think that yeah, we shouldn't be getting that much grant money just from the city, but I don't see anything there on the health line, and that's what should balance out with the water quality interns and all that. And we went we kind of got taken to the cleaners a little bit last year because or the year before, I guess, because they raised the pay for the water quality interns, but didn't increase the grant to the Harbor Commission. For those who don't know, all the funds for the water quality program are run through the Harbor Commission. It should be a balanced in and out, but it doesn't seem to work that way. So, Chris, maybe you guys, I can talk with you a little bit about that and find out, or you can talk with the gal at City Hall and figure out what those two grant amounts are for.
Yeah.
Other questions for Chris? All right, moving right along.
Yeah, Chris, are you gonna bring up with the email that you sent me?
Oh, yeah. Alan, there's one more piece of business, which is
Oh.
Jeff's invoice.
There you go.
So Jeff submitted an invoice for basically for all of 2024 for $15,000. I forwarded that around. I believe I got to everybody. So I'll make a motion that we approve that for payment.
I'll second that.
Okay. Any discussion?
Definitely had a chance to glance at that briefly, and I have a lot of questions that I'd like to answer and discuss before approve that. One thing that's kind of troublesome is it's a big number to go through all at once, and we've always tried to break that up into several tranches along the year, so we don't have this one big bill coming through that draws a lot of attention. So that would be my thought about approving that, and I have questions too about exactly what some of those charges are for, like the meeting with other commissions and things like that, like the water quality and the it's called the water initiative, all those things that if that's part of a Harbor Commission duty, or if we're getting any of the things that are related to the Shellfish Commission, if they're being billed for those, or if we pay for the Shellfish Commission's charges. I don't know about that. So I have some questions on those things. I need to have clarified. That's my comment.
Okay. Are you asking to table it?
No, I'm not saying, I'm making a comment. I would like to look at it in a little more depth and maybe have a conversation with Jeff just to talk about it. I don't know how the rest of you feel about it, but it is a lot of money, and it's not all clear to me what some of the charges are for meeting with other organizations within the city and all.
Jeff, would it be possible to get a like a monthly bill, or because I agree, 15,000, in one lump sum, throughout the entire year, you know, it's just a big, you know, we sort of have to budget everything, right? And we need to know what's going on. So, you know, maybe a month or quarterly bill, maybe, you know, if monthly is too much, you know, or too hard, not too hard, but too much work, too busy. Maybe quarterly or monthly would be, you know, might work out better for us.
Yeah, I will do that. That's, apologize for having it all at one lump sum. It's, I believe that amount is less than I have billed in past years. And as far as attending the other meetings, that's always been part of my responsibility. I've been the representative of the Harbor Management Commission on the Norwalk River Watershed Initiative for a long time. And, but anyway, I can provide any information you wish. And in the future, if you wish me to, I can submit an invoice every month.
Yeah, Chris, does that work out better for you, monthly or quarterly? You know,
Quarterly is
something-
probably sufficient for us to
Okay.
like keep
Perfect.
tabs on it, and then it, you know, that cuts, that's 4 instead of 12. So that's,
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
And I did mention to Chris, there's 1 month where there's 60 hours of work. Most of that was preparing the grant applications for the visitor stock, the applications for the visitor stock application. And that was actually the amount that I bill is typically less than the time I spend on that. But that's why that amount was so large on that 1 month, 60 hours. But typically it's 15 to 20 hours a month. And that doesn't cover all the communications that I do. But I agree that because of certain things that happened this year, I did not put those in on a quarterly basis. The year before it was one half a year and then another half a year.
So Chris, you're okay with quarterly or?
Yeah, quarterly's fine.
Okay.
Like that.
Cool. That's all we need.
Yeah.
Thanks, Jeff.
And Jeff, what you do is really impressive. So it's much appreciated.
Thank you. We've been doing it for a long time, and there are many important things to work on, just like and I will mention all the work that we did on the Walk Bridge project and the Eversource project. Those are literally thousands of hours of all the commission members' times and also the times that I spent. So I don't think anybody should say that not be proud of all the input that we put into that to all in the public interest.
And looking at the grant responses that you've been able to get over the last 24 months is insurmountable. So I think what your invoices are is minuscule to what you're providing. So thank you so much.
Thank you for saying that, but we also have to pay attention because the governor sets the agenda for the bond commission. So as we get into the next couple of months, if there's a way for our legislators to influence the agenda, it's not just our grant for the Veterans Park Marina, but there's 15 or so other municipal projects that are also awaiting allocation of the money from the bond commission. And then and again, I'll stop, but there's a new executive director for the Port Authority now too, who doesn't have a history or experience in maritime related matters. So the understanding that we've had is that once those monies are allocated by the bond commission, the Port Authority representatives look forward to traveling to Norwalk and looking at the projects that we've done and that we are going to do. But again, that's going to be another couple of months in the springtime.
Yeah, and I have to add too, Jeff, in all fairness to you, there's a lot of background time and information that you pull out from being involved with what goes on in the state, also being involved with some of the other commissions. And if you don't think that's invaluable, but I think it's important to know what the other commissions are doing, because again, what we do is not in a vacuum. Our work is not in a vacuum. We do a lot of coordination with some of the other commissions, Alan, whether you probably don't feel that way or not. But I think it's important that we do keep our hands involved and know what the other commissions are doing, because it certainly helps us out in the long run to know which directions we have to move to.
But I don't bill for that.
No, you don't bill for that. That's the whole thing. But at least, being the eyes and ears as far as the commission is concerned and informing us what some of the other commissions are doing, I think that's certainly valuable information. So yeah, but I know you don't bill for that. That's the whole thing. It's just your time, the time involved. But it's a lot of background things that you do that are not billable, let's put it that way. Anyway.
Call the
Okay.
question, the motion, what is the motion on the floor to, that
Approve.
Matt made is to,
$15,000 invoice for Jeff Stedman's 2024 billings.
Make a motion.
I've made the
that-
motion, it's been seconded, so if you're moving the
call,
motion.
we had a discussion. So we can
Yes.
call the question?
Yes. In favor, aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
With the idea that what, the bills would be submitted quarterly?
No, I'm talking about paying this one.
This is just for this one. It's a request.
We're just voting on, the motion is to, authorize payment for this invoice. So it's all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So motion carries.
Okay. What, one more thing about the last topic I looked up for the $15,000 that came in, it just came in labeled as city grant. This from the report that I get from Mariana.
But we
So
should
it's-
ask. We just need to find out why we get. So I thought we were only got a $20,000, a $15,000 grant for this year is what I recall. For,
Right.
I don't know if we've gotten it early.
Right. So the $15,000 was from this year, and the $20,000 was from last year. We got one right before the end of the fiscal year and one right at the beginning of the fiscal year.
I just think it's unusual. We should just ask about that.
Everything's unusual, yeah. So yeah.
All right,
Yeah, that's it for me though. Thank you.
plans and recommendations.
Okay, working with Jeff Mangles and Chris McDonald at this point on updating the harbor management plan, updating the policies, and adding some information in there on resiliency and other information that Jeff Stedman has helped me out with. And then dredging, I need to connect with Dr. Pinto and Jeff Stedman on a timetable, because the last I knew, Dr. Pinto, you were advising that we not contact them until the summer. But what I heard tonight from Jeff Stedman is that we need to put together a case
We
for.
have to put together a case, and Coral, who's the person as a matter of fact, I talked with her during the Southport Harbor dredging. Very interesting, very nice person. We got a good rapport with her. So she's inundated with that, but I think it's up to us to put some information together so that they can work on that. Basically.
Great. So I'll be in touch with you two about that.
But she's going to be busy till well into the summer. So we have enough time to sort of preface that and then get some information to her. Yeah.
Okay.
But as
And
far as
honestly-
contacting her now would not be beneficial. Or not be-
Correct. And then, I think that plans and recs for the Harbor Commission need to be in sync with the strategic harbor plan. So I want to just somehow be in lockstep with that. I'm assuming those meetings are open. Alan, you're muted.
They're-
Oh, now I can hear you.
They
We
are.
can hear you now.
Okay.
They are. You can join the meetings.
Okay, great. So just to keep myself up to date, and I know I can do that through you too, Alan.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's it.
Very good. Chris is not here for newsletter. Mike, do you have any report on goes with any of that newsletter or website? Mike Matthews?
I think it looked like he
I
signed
think
off.
he's gone.
I think he
Oh,
signed off,
oh.
Alan.
Okay. It's nothing, and water quality, again, there's been no replacement there, so there's really no leadership. I don't really understand the mayor's water quality committee, how it works. Maybe John could give us a brief overview. John, could you help us with the mayor's water quality committee, how that was put together and how it's supposed to be operated? In that they're
Well,
inactive now since,
Well, we previously, we had the Harbor Commission sort of being the main guidance behind the Water Quality Committee, but it was sort of an independent panel of a so-called authorities that dealt with water quality around. We had a couple of people that like Joe Schnurline, for example, not a member of the commission, but the commission is really the focal point of everything, just as but having other people involved. We had people from the maritime aquarium. We had people from the treatment plant, water treatment plant that were planning and zoning that were part of that. But it was the mayor who chose the so-called chairperson, and so far we haven't had any response to that. So I think we can go ahead and make a recommendation. I mean, again, we would need another Joe Schnurline for that matter of that night, but he's out of the picture right now. But we need somebody that would perhaps know pretty much about water quality. We'd like to chair that and be the focal point for that. But it's really up the mayor, because it's so-called the mayor's water quality. That was initiated by Nick DePalma. Nick DePalma back in 1994, 95, somewhere around there.
It was initiated because there was a political issue about the operation of the wastewater treatment plant. And there were assertions made that the plant wasn't being operated properly, and that was the source of the bacteria in the harbor. But the Harbor Commission was understood that there are many sources of bacteria pollution, including through the storm drains. And so up to that point, there was no map of the city storm drains going into the harbor.
So it was the Harbor Commission's, we did that.
The Harbor Commission set it up and then deferred that the mayor could appoint the mayors. The mayor could appoint the members, but the issue was
the mayor,
because
apparently there's nobody there now, so it shouldn't just evaporate. So we need some mayoral help.
Yeah, that would certainly help out. But the commission is the one that initiated, again, stormwater management. We mapped out the stormwater drains. Found out where a lot of the pollution was coming from, especially around Moody's Lane, up around that area right there. Kept track of what was going on in the water treatment plant. So, and then we've got documentation as far as what flows down the harbor and gets into the area of shellfish bed, as far as the type of currents that drive the pollution and where it's driven. So all that information we have, but and that's.
So is it you or Joe or
Joe? Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I'll see what I can find out, because it's a valuable resource, but it's completely just evaporated since Joe stepped down from being the chair. And I don't know what happened, who the other members were, or if anyone wanted to step up to be the chair. So I'll get into that.
Well, we didn't have someone who previously we had members of the commission chair of that water quality committee. But then it became sort of where the commission was involved sort of on the side. There was the chairman was not a member of the commission, but was appointed by the mayor to oversee that. But then the commission had members in attendance.
But the commission is to provide leadership for the.
We were to provide leadership basically and working hand in hand with the Shellfish Commission. That's where, again, working with Earth Place and at the time it was not Earth Place. It was the I forget what the previous name of that.
It's Harbor Watch.
Harbor Watch.
Oh, get after the mayor, because he has to. Clearly, it's the mayor's water quality commission, right?
Committee.
All right. Moving along. Amelia, are you online?
Yes, I am.
I can't hear you.
Oh, sorry. Can you hear me now? Is that better?
That's better. Everybody?
All right.
So do you have the results of our election?
Yes, all 8 votes were received for the nominated slate of Kibbe for chair, Mangles vice chair, and Jones for secretary. And the slate passed. So congratulations, Alan, Jeff, and Lori.
Yeah, thank you, everybody. Thanks, Amelia, for managing that vaporware vote, and appreciate it. And I appreciate your confidence. I think we all do, and look forward to going forward. Is there any other new business not on the agenda? All right, time to adjourn. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second,
Right.
all in favor?
Right.
I,
Good night, all. Thank you for your time. Thanks for coming. Appreciate it.
Take
Thanks,
care,
everybody.
everybody.
Thanks. Have a good night, everyone.